Welcome back, adventurers, to another episode of A Hero's Guide to Asgartha. I'm Nick.
And I'm Chili.
And today, I'm gonna tell you guys know what this is. We are joined by Kyle from the AlteredTCG.blog. I'm gonna be honest, we have to figure out like a shorter name for that. It's getting real, not like annoying, but just it's tedious. It's getting tedious saying.
So what I've heard it called a lot is just the blog.
Yeah.
The blog.
We often go like just, but you have to use the capital then, and so that's something you have to remember.
I'm just gonna start calling it the A blog.
Capital blog.
The A blog. Okay, all right, I can work with that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want to be particular, we're technically the unofficial. But you know, it because we have to stick by the content creators rules.
You are the UAB, the unofficial altered blog. That's what I'm going to start calling it now, the UAB.
It sounds so formal. It reminds you of the Men in Black. That's what it reminds me of, you know.
No, I'm joking. It is just the altered TCG blog. However, but I don't mind the A blog. It's not bad.
Now, welcome. Unfortunately, Marc wasn't able to join us today. We send our regards to him and his family. They're just dealing with a couple of things at the moment. He would love to be here and we would love to have him, but kudos for him to make family first, because that should always be our priorities. Those we love over the game we love. But we'll bring in some of his insights that he's given us already into here as well, and we'll laugh about each other's predictions.
Yeah, so, we had quite a few. There's quite the list. So
yes, go ahead, Nick.
As a quick rundown for everybody who does not remember, we did our initial mid-season patch predictions, I believe on, let's see, what was this? The 25th of March? No, that was Trial by Frost.
It would have been
that
May.
was way back. Let's see.
So it was basically around about 2 weeks before the release of the patch.
Yeah.
And it's a good time to do it now because the patch has only been live for a week and a half because they waited until till the conclusion of Dallas before the patch came live.
Yes, that's true. So let's see. That would have been because it came out August 11th. That was when the patch actually hit, right?
It's when it
was released.
Live.
When it was released.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it did not come into effect until a week and a half ago.
Yeah. So, man, that feels so long ago.
It really does, right?
It was.
Like, it kind of hurts my brain thinking about like where we are now, and then thinking about what we're doing right now.
Yeah,
it's such a time warp.
The fun part for me has been doing the competitive snapshots for the blog, and I keep for the last one that I just finished for July, I had a situation where I was like, where I was thinking, but Whispers from the Maze just came out. Like, obviously this only goes back a couple weeks, right?
Yeah.
And then I started looking at that, and I'm like, oh no, this was months ago. Oh no.
Yeah. So Whispers from the Maze released about 2.5 months ago.
Yeah.
Right. We're almost at the conclusion of this season. Given each season is 4 months.
That's correct.
Total.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. This is weird.
Time is a weird construct for sure.
Yeah. So
Nick,
let's go over.
Give us a rundown on what actually happened in the patch. And
okay.
Then we'll talk about some of our predictions and where we got it right, where we got it wrong.
So here's what's interesting is that the patch was officially like posted onto the website on July 29th.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was really interesting because I believe that it was at this point that Dallas had already been announced. Correct?
All the tumults had been announced.
Yeah,
right.
Sorry, not the tumults. All the World Championship qualifiers.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting because at least us in Dallas, we got to play with the unerrated Aphanis, which would have been really interesting to see because I would have been very interested to see what the lineup would have been if it would have been errated Aphanis.
No one would have played Aphanis really in a competitive scene. You just wouldn't have had enough rest.
I don't think so.
when he went live 2 weeks earlier. That's some people may risk it, but you're more than likely not going to have seen as much. And we have seen that in the competitive scene. A lot of move away from Afanis in last week's BCG tournament. Not BCG.
BGA.
What is it called? BGA. Thank you. Last week's PGA tournament, and in what we're seeing in other competitive tournaments online. People moving away from Afanis more towards a Kesha if they're going to go Izmir, or completely away from it as we're seeing Bravos really take over in terms of representation.
Oh, and
I think it's
Trace
weird too. Well, that and
Trace.
Lindaway. I feel like I've been seeing a lot more Lindaways.
Bravos is a faction.
Yeah. So that was something interesting, is that they even said that with the adjustments, that they've seen adjustments within the meta, and specifically with breakthroughs in Kojo and Trace decks.
Yeah.
And then seeing a fairly, wide diversity between Basira, Gullring, Sierra, and Achadi, which is interesting because I didn't clock that they had said that they were noticing an increased trend in Gullring decks. I didn't clock that.
Well, Gullring is not because of the errata. I think Gullring would have done well against Afanis in its old format anyway.
Right. This was, and you have to remember, this was on the 29th. So they were saying that on the 29th even, that they were still seeing like an increase in Gullring decks. And I just didn't even notice that.
Yeah, the coverage that I was doing on the the qualifiers, even a couple weeks before that, even before the patch, because I was having some really interesting moments where I thought, again, going into the qualifiers, seeing what I've seen for the last few months, I thought it's going to be Sig and Afanis for days. That's all we're going to see. And of course, the first one went to Sig, right? Popeye with ridiculous uniques attached to that Sig deck. And then
same as who came second, right? With
exactly.
Claudius. Both of those had ridiculous uniques, both players.
And then moving to the next qualifier, going to an Afanis player. And so I thought, this is what we're going to be dealing with. And then every qualifier after that, we saw Traced breakthrough at Leal, and we saw not just Traced, but Kojo and Navenka as well. Really put some pressure on there. And then moving on from there, we've seen Traced continue to build through. And as soon as that Traced deck, I don't know if we were chatting about that, if that was us in our chat, but mentioning the week that Traced deck did what it did with the bug fix and that unique play, that card return play, all of those uniques that were in the marketplace started climbing in price, and people were just picking them up just to try it out, it sounded like. So even before this patch came down, we had a significant shift, not just to Traced, but also one of the things that I found interesting doing those snapshots, in the entire time that I've been doing this coverage and I've only been tracking since February, but from February to now, only one faction has, aside from, and I say this with all the love in my heart, aside from Izmir, which has had such a spike from Afanis that he carries the other two as a faction. People do still play Akesha and Lindaway, don't get me wrong, but for the last 5 to 6 months, Afanis has been strong enough distribution has kind of taken the lead by there. But Bravos as a faction, all three of their heroes get together, they're consistently as a faction top played. They are the top distributed heroes. They have been since February.
Yeah, and right now basically if you look at it as a representation of decks being played and decks doing well, basically a quarter of it all is now Bravos.
It's ridiculous.
A quarter, which is huge.
Yeah.
With Muna probably being the lowest representation at the moment, they have got a hard time. As we spoke to Kohlrabi last week, he says there's only 1.5 playable characters. One being Tasia, the half being Festival Rin.
So, how dare you, as an Argent player.
Well, how could you?
Is it really how dare you? Or I can completely agree with that, and I will continue to play him.
I will still play him.
No.
Them. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes.
So, getting back into it really quickly, because here's where it gets interesting, right? Is that they mentioned in here that they noticed that Afanis that people were building specific Afanis counter decks, but then we're opening them up to failure in other matchups.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the things that they were saying is that they want that this errata for Afanis was supposed to reduce excessive power without making it unplayable, kind of like what they did with Waru, I feel like.
Different to Waru. Very different to Waru.
Yeah. Preserve its identity and playstyle, maintain a simple and accessible design, ensuring a deck building and gameplay experience close to the original, and then ensure the deck remains competitive at a reasonable level, right?
Yeah.
So here's the interesting thing, though, is that for everybody who's not aware, I'm just going to say it right now. Afanis' errata was spells you play with a hand cost 1 or less are fleeting, but then it still has when you play a spell, target character gains a boost.
Mm-hmm.
So that's technically fine. You can still do Afanis' thing. It just lowers the amount that you can do it, right? Which I feel like is a great equalizer.
Yeah, the only thing that's really impacted is you don't have the card recursion possibility that you once had. That's all it is.
Yes.
Which was one of the major points that has caused pain for the devs, too. The way that they've talked about, it's the way that they've said that those uniques have been a struggle for them to say, how do we deal with these looping uniques? Mm-hmm. This breaks it. That solves that problem, and I think it does it very neatly.
Yeah. The other thing, too, is that they actually mentioned Helping Hand, right? Because now with the errata, technically speaking, they're saying that it's likely to return in a future update.
Yeah, probably will return as it is, and we're going to talk about that in terms of some of the suggestions or predictions we had.
Yeah. Which I think is really interesting, because I feel like this is going to sound really dumb, right? I think in this case, with the issues that they were having with stuff like Helping Hand, magical training, like all this other stuff, I feel like this is a very good thing, because Afanis was affecting so many cards that it didn't make sense to errata the cards and not the hero.
Yeah. And I actually really like in the article that was released, some of the vulnerability they showed to say, we really did not want to do to Afanis what we did with Waru. And we tried A, B, and C by removing some cards and still felt that even then, the essence of what he was doing that was different or causing disruption in the game was not enough. So they had to go and move the hero. But I like that it was a last resort. You really don't want to do this often, if at all. And they have now done it twice, right? They've done it twice. Go ahead.
Just to go to fold that in with Nick's point just a moment ago, and to shameless plug for the blog, the A blog. Again, we'll get it to catch on.
The A blog or the UA blog.
So
I'll let Carl decide what he wants to call it, because it is his blog.
I'm gonna stick with A blog for now. But having talked with Francois in that interview that we did at Gen Con, which was, again, great interview. Please go check it out. But one of the things that he brought up, I talked about this specifically with him to get his take on it, and he had a few really interesting things to say about that whole process of looking at how we deal with an errata, how we deal with, where's the right place to put a little bit of pressure to find where it balances out, right? And to your point, Nick, there were just so many cards that Afanis connected to that could feed into those loops, that could feed into those kind of damaging cycles, that it was either a choice of, do we do a small errata to, say, 5 to 6 cards, or do we just handle the hero that's involved with all of those? And it seemed, it's a smaller change, even though it feels like a big change to one of the heroes. It's a smaller change to the game overall to say, let's target the hero. That this is the smallest change we can make, and still have the right effect that we're going for here. And I really applaud them for that. I think it's a really good way of looking at it.
Because here's the problem: is that in the article they mentioned that when they were determining Waru's errata, they said that we acted more quickly than we would have preferred. And I think that's what bit them in the tail just a little bit.
Yeah, but I'll also say what Wario was doing was so oppressive to game state and gameplay that
Right,
it was
it's
no
that
longer
balance.
it wasn't a fun experience.
Yeah, it's
And
true.
especially when you're early on, you wanted to make it a fun experience, so there was this back and forth. I actually feel that's what people that play against the looping bug fix are feeling as well.
Yeah,
Where
I don't
it's
disagree.
no longer a back and forth. There's no longer a strategy. It's do they get the card? Can they just pay one cost to bring out a 2/2/2 bug and then do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again? And I think that's what they want to avoid is avoid that level of craziness where and I'll say the same thing about the hostage decks that are currently being played. That also becomes repressive to the point of what's the point of playing if there's no longer an interaction?
Mm-hmm.
The good thing is that can only happen on BGA. It's not the way that can occur in a face-to-face game.
Yeah.
But for those that love it, it's great and it's fun to watch. But then after a moment, the joy is taken out of everyone's life.
Yeah.
As you sit there for an hour waiting for something to happen. Right?
Well, so here's where it gets interesting too, because at Lille they mentioned the trace decks, right?
Yeah.
What I was missing a key part of that formula, which was I didn't know that there were uniques that allowed you to return a card from reserve whenever you created a brass bug.
Correct.
Yeah, so I've got that. It's not create a brass bug. I've got when you create a robot.
Oh,
So-
robot generally. Yes.
Oh, well then that's even better, I feel like.
So it's even better. So I have that card, and I have two of them. I lend them out a lot.
Yeah.
But it's not my game style, so I don't play it. Now maybe I should if I want to win a tumult, but but I don't like that oppressive game style. It just goes against the way that I love playing.
Yeah.
But if you see me play it, then you know I've sold out to just get the mat.
Sometimes you just got to get
But
them
here's
out,
the
I
thing,
know.
though. They mentioned that the combo is powerful. They at least admit that like this is a very good combo, right?
Yeah.
But it's not oppressive, not yet.
You have to get the right cards, and that's
Right.
the difference. Whereas with a Farnus, you have a selection of 10.
Yeah.
And removing that card is a lot, I guess,
You
simpler.
can't remove a hero.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's simpler in that way, and also, listen, Axiom, they've had it rough. Let's give them a
they
break.
need some help.
Yeah, not now though. They're really it's their time in the sunlight.
Do you think
right
that this
now.
is pity?
No, not at all.
No,
Do you think that's why they're letting them keep the bug fix combo? Do you think it's pity?
Well, I'll be completely honest. Even with the bug fix, well, what I'll say is that my Sierra deck that I run is performing better than it's ever done. I will say that's
Ooh.
true. However, it takes a lot of work to get there. Traced is really interesting as the Axiom hero who has kind of, I know it takes quote unquote 5 turns to get you to your ability, or 5 plays to get you to your ability. But once you do, you're good. Sierra, you really can't do much with her until you can get a hive online, and that can just get removed so quickly. And then Subash just struggles to find the right pacing. Everyone else in Axiom just really can't keep up in the same way that Trace can keep up with a lot of other decks.
That's so true.
Yeah.
But I'll say if you're able to you can actually play against Traced. If you're able to stop them from getting things in their reserve, sabotage after rest, also getting some of their cards exhausted, you can delay. If you delay it enough so that you can be ahead by 2 to 3 tracks, it's difficult for them to come back.
Yeah.
The moment they're equal with you, you're stuffed.
Yeah.
You really are. So
Yeah.
And the other thing with the bug fix is you can actually engage that card and do something about it. You get rid of the looping unique that stops that from happening. So you must, from a perspective of playing against it, then you've got to hold cards in hand that can deal with it. You couldn't do that. You can't do that against a Farnus. You also couldn't do it against a Small Step Giant Leap. It was the first person that played it out won the game.
Yeah.
Which is what they're trying to do is, hey, these conditions are okay, but someone can engage and do something with them potentially.
At the very least, or I'm sorry, even at its simplest construction, the bug fix combo is a 2-card combo. Like you need both of those cards in play, and if you break one of those cards, the combo stops. That's it. And one of those cards is is an easier target, let's say, especially because Axiom has so little in the way of like retribution, like revenge, in terms of that, or protection. Whereas whereas Aphanis could go on the offense constantly. There was even if you could bump a character out of his hand, well, that's fine. He can just remove all of yours too.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the question, because I feel like now it's a good time to go into our actual predictions.
Okay.
Which I will let's put it this way. I had one prediction out of this
there was one
list
that
of
you told me to bring into the room.
22 that we had on there,
and they were all correct.
Yeah.
So the first one,
some of them may still be valid when we do this again in a couple of months. So.
That's true.
So here's what happened, right? So the Moonlight Jellyfish is still suspended.
Yep.
I finally understand the reason why, because I was like, who cares about the jellyfish? Like, I don't care. I've never pulled a jellyfish. I've never played the jellyfish. I've never had a desire to play the jellyfish. I finally looked at the stupid card, and now I understand why.
The uniques are amazing.
They're really
these
good.
are great. Like, everybody should be playing these.
Even the bad ones.
And they
good.
were.
Yeah.
And they were.
So
and they were.
I understand that now. I understand why. And I think we all agree that, technically speaking, from an objective standpoint, these needed to stay suspended.
Well, right now, even between us all, none of us could come up with an idea of what actually could work.
Right.
So we said, you know what, this may be the first card that stays suspended. And as of what they've told us, it basically is the case right now. We did say, though, given there's not as much sacrifice available in Axiom, although next set there's going to be, we basically said maybe you could release it for Axiom, but I'll probably take that back. I would take that back to say, well, hold on, the new set's coming out that now focuses on it. It may be the card that gets basically overused from a Moonlight Jellyfish perspective.
I think it'd be really interesting if they add an additional sack requirement to it. So like with Moonlight Jellyfish, it's like when I'm sacrificed, if a permanent has been sacrificed and I'm not fleeting, right? Something to make it a little bit more complicated
maybe for Axiom. I don't know if it would work at all in Izmir that way, but
we'd
right
have to see.
Hey, our prediction is sound.
Yeah,
keep it errated until someone can figure this out.
Yeah,
I still don't know. I still don't know a way around it. Right? Like that's just
increase the reserve cost to 4.
The only other thing you can do is you can make them pay 1.
Ooh, every time I'm sacrificed.
So if you pay 1, then you start losing its value because it was so cheap for 1. Now you're doing it for 2.
Yeah, I don't hate that as a concept.
Do it as many times.
Ooh,
but anyway, we're not talking predictions. This is more about our resolve.
So
what about?
I had one. I had one specifically that was attributed to me.
Are you keeping score now? Is that what we're doing?
No, I just counted. Because here's the thing. Marc and Kyle had the most between all 4 of us,
Yeah, you had a lot of complaints, may I say, Kyle. Many complaints.
Yeah. So my one was that the erratas to Aphana would increase to I have to pay 1 for each additional boost. Right? Which, in all fairness, I feel like is pretty close to what they got. Because technically they don't have to pay for the boost now, but they lose out on the spell.
Yeah.
If it's a 1 cost, right?
Yeah.
Which I feel like is more fair than mine, because mine was pretty brutal.
Yeah, that you basically made Aphanis no longer be able to be used.
Yeah.
If they played 2 spells, you're stuffed.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we'll get into it, but I do still think that the way that they did approach this errata actually makes Aphanis a more interesting hero, personally.
Yeah, I think it's good. And in your article, and I'm going to reference your article that you actually did with Justin, he actually said, because he spoke about the new hero, Moyo, coming out, he goes, hey, one thing to consider, and he said this is a little bit of, let's take you a little bit into the next set. Hey, since it's written down, it's in the open, so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Right. He basically said there are going to be things that are going to come out that are going to reduce the cost of something from hand and from reserve. So don't assume that it's going to cost this much.
Yeah.
And I would say the same thing even for a Farnus. Don't assume that two cost cards are going to be 2.
Yep.
Maybe some of them will have the same equivalent of paying 1 as you do today. Which is actually a scary thought that he's going to come back with a vengeance.
Yeah, right. Just rising from the grave.
Yeah. Now, before we go through the list of all our predictions, there was a couple of others that we had that were a little bit higher up on what you saw. Baba Yaga, there were 2 things we said that we would like to do. Those are still open, and I think they're going to continue. 1, reduce the stat line to a common Izmir one. Mark and Carl, you both said that.
Yeah.
I said, I went the opposite path, and I said, what about increasing the cost from hand to 4? So then it becomes a more conscious deck-building decision. If you really want this, the stats are good.
You got to lean into
a little bit more to get the card draw.
Yeah, that's why I really like my... I don't know if you saw, but my new unique Baba that I have for Ortis.
Yeah, I really like that, especially for your...
for Gulrang.
Gulrang build.
Have I told you about this new unique, Kyle?
No, you have not.
So it's 2 from hand, 2 from reserve, but the stats are garbage. It's like 1-2-0 or something.
Okay,
but I get double draw off of it.
Oh,
yeah.
So anytime I play it, I get to draw.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's great.
Yeah.
Now you could also do something that hand recursion and play it again. That'd be even better if we can get something like that in Ortis.
Geyser. Geyser will get you there.
Yeah. So if you play a Geyser, play it out twice. Geyser it back to hand. Play it out twice again. There you go.
Haven't even. I forgot.
This is great. I'm glad we got video for this. This is great.
He's so excited.
Now Nick, yeah,
he's so excited.
I can do it with my Athena.
Yes, you can do that with any of your cards.
Dude, I actually just put Geyser back into my deck too. Not even kidding.
You're welcome.
I'm playing 2 Ortis Criers. I'm playing 2 Geysers.
Hopefully you get your commissioned for this as well.
Yeah, I can tell you, I know that play as a Bravos who with Intimidation and Theseus in our decks right now. Like, yeah, we do that too.
Yeah, because you get the benefit on play. You don't really care the rest.
Yeah,
of it.
Who cares?
Like you
the
just want the draw.
Not doing you any good.
Yeah,
yeah,
I know. Then I'm gonna go. The second one we talk about is yeah, he is. He's basically dreaming about all these new deck building things.
How did I not think of that?
It's okay. You need to play more Lindaway, then you learn the offensive and defensive ways of playing everything.
It's true.
I'm so sad.
Helping Hand was the other one, where once again has not been released, still in there. So the main thing we got, and I think we got this right, it's Helping Hand's not the issue. A Farnus is the issue. Don't unban this until after we amend a Farnus, which is basically ticking the box. So that's 1 for Mark, 1 for Kyle.
We did it.
I actually said, if they don't do anything... Oh, sorry, you said this actually, Kyle.
Well,
give the card fleeting or amend the text to just make the card lose fleeting and not get the boost.
Yeah. But I do think that we hit in the right direction, which was actually talking about the issue that Francois brought up to say, like, we were just going to have to amend, 6 or so cards, or let's just take care of this one real problem that we have.
Yep.
So no, I'll take that. I'll take that 1 point. And once again, I just want to point out that all of our opinions are correct. That's just
yeah. And I had said my one, which I got wrong, but maybe I'll take half credit. Amend it to a 2/2 cost with fleeting, and I think it has got fleeting because of what they did with the Farnus.
Yeah,
and I'm glad it's not impacting the other heroes
completely.
And I think that's the best part is these could be integral to other heroes, but a Farnus doesn't get the full benefit.
Well, because
I wouldn't say full benefit, but
he only gets half the benefit because the card cannot be played again from reserve.
Yeah,
right, and that's what I mean by the half benefit.
Okay, here's the thing though. Specifically with Helping Hand, I feel like it's like 3/4 benefit, right? Because technically, he plays the spell and gets 2 boosts off of it, right? Which if he were to play it again, that's fine. My thing is at the resupply cost, right? Is that technically you can still play this from reserve. It's still going to get fleeting. But the thing is that you're still paying it for the same cost as the reserve cost, right? So
which is 2 right now.
Right,
yeah,
but that's one point. Is that, like, technically speaking, it's still how he was going to play it either way. He only gets it once now, rather than twice.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and I'll say Helping Hand with the Katagiran Mage Dancer is really great to
Yeah.
get. And it can still be used, but just can't be used over and over and over and over and over
Right.
again.
Which I think that's the point, though.
This actually does a similar thing for the Mage Dancer, I think, where for Lindway and Akesha, Mage Dancer is essential, but not like the powerhouse that Afanis builds.
It's not the mitochondria of the deck.
Yeah, and so with the I appreciate the joke. But doing this with Afanis allows the Mage Dancer to still be a really useful card for the other two heroes, while bringing it more in line statistically with what everyone else can manage for Afanis.
Yeah. I'm just grateful I'm never going to lose to Triple Mage Dancer again.
Isn't that great? It's just good to know.
My word. I know. Like,
this is
play
just
a
a
card
feel-good
and all of a
set.
sudden 3 additional boosts for nothing for a 1 cost. Yeah, what do you do? All right, now Nick, we can continue down the rest of our card legality or errata wish lists. And how did we do?
Hold on.
Well, the answer's probably wrong for all of these because nothing else happened in the patch.
Yeah,
that's true.
Well, not entirely true. Bugfix got added to the watch list, but that's...
I mean, that's true.
Yeah, but that is almost the only other thing that happened.
I want everybody to know in this very public space, right? I want everybody to know this, that you guys better be you guys better be scared now, because I picked up 2 uniques. I'm telling you, I'm not going to stop thinking about this. I'm not going to stop thinking about this until I actually get to test this out, because I picked up 2 uniques while I was at Dallas. I picked up the stupid Baba, and then I picked up my new favorite Athena. And my Athena,
really nice Athena
is now basically, if I can get the geysers, this Athena is now basically an infinite open the gates. Well, that's not necessarily
that's right, because he gives it to you from hand only.
Technically, I can play that same Athena 3 times. Have I told you about this Athena, Kyle?
Yeah. So
what's that?
Have I told you about this Athena?
No. How ridiculous is this Athena?
It's disgusting, is what it is.
It's an
6
open
from hand, 4 from reserve.
Okay.
4 stats all.
Oh.
And it's a rare open the gates.
What? It just
and
makes...
he basically, for Gulrang, if he has these double Messick Tets, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But
and it still has the if I control a landmark, I lose fleeting.
Yeah. Oh, ridiculous. That's painful. That's gross.
I just want Nick, once you play it and you win one of our locals with it, then we'll give it the credibility it deserves.
Here's
you got to
the thing.
build it and get that. That's what I want to see.
Okay. Are we talking about like actual OP play, or are we talking about like friendly matches?
You know what? Just OP. I want you to win an OP with this because I think you can. I think your deck can do it. But then it gives it credibility. It gives your deck credibility when you say, "I won a tournament."
Well, so here's the question: do mirror matches count?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to win the tournament. You got to win your 3 matches.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, okay.
You got to win your 3 matches, not a single match. You got to win your 3.
Easy peasy. Done.
Come
Let's
out
do
victor.
Let's
go through. So, what were some of the other
pull
things?
Us into a BGA match as soon as we get off the podcast.
Right? Absolutely, like you guys are going to spectate this match. Watch.
That's so funny. So, what are some of the other things that we said that we may or may not have gotten right?
Okay, let's talk about Sigismar.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
let's talk about
Sigismar did not get any. Well, specifically, let's see, Siggy and oh crap, who's his companion?
Wingspan.
Thank you. Mercifully, Sigismar's spear and Wingspan's wings did not get clipped. So
yeah, and to be honest though, Kyle, it hasn't really performed that well.
That's
like
the thing.
If anything, it's had less representation at the top tables in terms of its popularity. It's still there, people playing it, yes, but conversion rates are not as high as it used to be.
I tend to agree.
Listen.
I know I have a lot of opinions. I love being proven wrong. This is a thing that and I'm not even being facetious about that. Like this is a place where I really felt like there was just no way around this. We had to develop some other ideas here around it, but I don't know why it took 6 months for us to get there. But it really did finally, people started finding decks that would break through Sigismar.
And I'll say most of those are actually Bravos builds because they are so overstated.
Yeah.
And they found ways of drawing cards or resupply.
Yeah,
I think
that's true.
The mess has really helped Bravos have that, not only match it from a card advantage, but overdo it in terms of its ability of having more stats.
Definitely not played as
card.
much as you'd think, at least the snapshots, but it is in there. You're absolutely right.
Oh, it should be in terms. I would say that should be one of the more common. You don't play 3 of though. You usually just play 2 of.
That's true. That's a fair point. Which is part of why it doesn't show up as much in the snapshots. You're absolutely right. Yeah. I think that and one of the things that Marc brought up in our previous discussion that I hadn't really cottoned on to at the time, but since he mentioned it, I was thinking about it basically nonstop as I was watching and doing recaps and things like that. Is that one of the reasons Sigismund was doing so well was because there was so much Afanis out there.
Yeah.
And Afanis, Sigismund into Afanis is a pretty good setup. You do reasonably well, better than average. And it wasn't that Sigismund was just doing incredibly. It's just that there was so much Afanis that the one counter deck that everyone could lean into, and also on top of that, Sigismund does reasonably well versus everyone else too.
Mm-hmm.
Now that his main, I guess it's like an ecosystem situation. Now that his main prey is out of there's less of it out there. Population levels are coming back down to normal. Right?
Yeah, right.
That's kind of what it feels like.
But I did love some of the takes that you guys had. I love the idea that Sigismund only gets the recruit if he doesn't actually progress the day before. That mentality is good. Now, one thing that came out on the article that I think is useful to know is Equinox is much more reluctant to change a hero if they're part of the starter decks.
Yeah.
Because you want to teach someone with something they can use. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. From a perspective of the majority of players. But from those that are trying to play competitive, it's a little bitter pills to swallow, but it is what we've got right now.
Mm-hmm.
And on the positive side is they didn't make a change, and he hasn't done as well.
That's true.
So it was that learning curve potentially. And I also, as I said, with Bravos coming up, and also I'd say with Trace coming back up again, it makes it more difficult for Sigismund to do well. Then I actually had my main qualm was I really wanted Messick Tet changed. I really did. I actually thought that Gulrang would be much stronger than it's performed. It's done well, especially from where it started from. It's done well.
Yeah.
And my main issue was I think Messick Tet should not be available to use if you are tied. Now, I'll actually change that stance to say, okay, if you're tied, it's okay, but can we do something about when you're in arena?
Yeah.
Because what I don't like in arena is that's like there's other cards that are no longer valid. You can't progress through Grand Endeavor. Therefore, this would also be something that I'd say can trigger off. But at the same time, I think people have found ways around working against Gulrang, and people have got that learning curve where it's no longer as scary as it once was for me.
Yeah. Let me put it this way, is that if you look at, and Tom, this is, I would be very interested to see if this is something that we could do, is that when you go to the heroes, if you could do it by date ranges rather than like cumulative.
Oh,
right?
sure.
Yeah, so he actually said that he's going to look into adding that functionality. So it would be by set release.
God bless you.
So by set release and also by tournament.
Canadians are so innovative, man.
Yeah, I just want to take a moment and give like a sincere thank you to both Tom and Pollux, like incredible people who have done just amazing work to help us all out in this community. Ridiculous.
And Kyle, do you leverage any of the stuff that Pollux does
in
terms of now set overviews?
Yeah.
In terms of, so that's basically where I thought you'd be getting your stats from with 39 cards. I love how he calls it 39
stats.
Something stats.
Yeah.
Something
like got like the three websites.
So that and I think I've referenced it in there, but that is one of the points of the stats that I collect there, and how I develop those snapshots, and talking about recaps and things like that. Without Pollux's work there, those snapshots would be a lot less robust, and I really appreciate it.
So
fantastic.
here's the interesting thing, is that this is the point that I was going to make. You look at Goalrang in the last 2 weeks, there's only been 9 decks, right? At least when you're looking at 39 cards, right? That's not everybody, but those are at least what's placed.
9 from 0, right? You've started off at 0 to 9.
Yeah,
True.
basically. And so you're looking at it, and here's the thing. In the AQZ on the 31st of June, came in second. Darth Fumbles came in the top 8. There were 2 in the Latham League on the 11th. And those were top 4, 3rd and 4th. And then now it's, going a little bit away. So here's the whole idea, right? Goalrang is not unplayable because of Messick Tet. But kind of like what you're talking about, people are finally, the learning curve is finally, going up, where they're noticing that more than likely Goalrang is probably going to be playing a Messick Tet. So that's why I'm like, I feel like it's fine where it's at right now in terms of Messick Tet, because let's be 100% honest here. There's probably 2 people playing it. Right?
It gets a lot less play than you'd expect, but still.
Right. Yeah. Because what the other faction it's in is in
Axiom.
Nobody
plays it. Nobody cares about it.
It's just worse in Axiom, though.
Exactly.
Is the thing. Yeah.
So that's the point, is that you have 2 people that are playing it, right?
Yeah.
One of them is using it well, and one of them is using it. So, yes, it's annoying, but 1 out of 18, I feel like you're going to be fine.
Yeah, that's so funny. There were 2 other asks that we had, and I want to go back to this. And one is make Waru more playable. That Marc had asked. I'll say this: there's no way they're going to change Waru back to what he was.
Right.
But I also feel that with new cards coming on, Waru is starting to become a little bit more useful. I don't think he'll ever be as strong as he once was.
No.
But unfortunately, I don't think we're going to do more than that. And then the other one you had asked is, like, can we get Arjun some help? Which I think he did not. He's not gotten better. There are more people testing him.
True.
But he has not gotten better in terms of any conversions. The hope lies, this is always the case. There's always next year. There's always next season.
The hope lies in
There's always next set.
That's what they keep telling me. Even Francois, even Francois, when we were talking.
I've heard a lot of stuff about next set. That they keep on saying that next set is going to be different for Muna. Let's see.
Yeah,
let's see.
But specifically with Kaori, not with no one's talked about how this is going to be better for Arjun.
Poor Arjun, man.
I mean, the only viable play right now is Festival if you're really trying to win. I am currently playing an Arjun deck that's a lot more aggressive, which is more fun, but also I have won 1 match out of the last, I think, 15 that I've played it. But it's still it's a fun play. I just can't win.
Go ahead, Nick.
Oh, no. I was going to say, you guys should actually check out the new, I don't even know where I clicked on this. Oh, products, on the new products page for Skybound Odyssey. They updated the artwork and stuff for a lot of the stuff.
Look at that.
Yeah, you need to take a look. Because here's my thing, is that it's really interesting because when you look at a lot of these heroes, I want there to be new cards that help with it, obviously that benefit the new heroes, but at least in some way will benefit the old heroes too.
For sure. Yeah.
So, for an example, the one that I keep talking about is I think it'd be really interesting to see a card in the new set that says if my region has been changed, whether it's specifically or generically.
Yeah,
that would be interesting because not only then it would also help Rin if you can change it. If it's something where it's if my thing has been changed to forest or if I'm in a specific thing, I feel like that would help Rin. But it's really interesting to see that now. Lyra is hyper focusing on region changing.
Yeah, and I'll say if we're going back to your ask with Arjun, the hard part is it feels like anything that could help Arjun is also going to help other heroes.
Yes.
More so than it would help him. And you choose Tasia because she gets a boost as well.
Right.
Now, there was one card we got completely wrong. We didn't really mention. We just said this is not I'll say Equinox did nothing about that I thought they should have.
Incredible.
That
withdrawal?
is license withdrawal.
How?
It's fine. It's
not
fine.
even
Don't worry about it.
Not even put onto the watch list.
Not even
which
considered.
is a complete surprise.
Yeah.
Complete surprise.
Bug fix.
When I read that, I'm like, Kyle is going to lose his mind.
Okay, hold on. Wait a minute, though. Wait a minute. Let me put in my opinion, and then you guys can fight about it in the ring, okay? And then you guys can do your gladiator match, okay?
Sure.
It's the same reason with Messick Tet, right? You have two heroes. No, hold on.
No.
Give me a second.
No.
Give me a second. Hold on. It would be different if Ortis and Izmir were using it to just completely screw people's meta states, right?
They do.
They are.
Izmir
I have
does
never
use it.
once seen Izmir deck play license withdrawal.
It's one of in my most recent snapshot. It's one of the most common. It's one of the most common Izmir rares.
I don't play it because I don't care about it.
The difference with the Izmir one is it's limited in terms of what it can do.
Yeah,
and the ask we had is like restrict some part of its elements, whether it's the permanent removal limit or the character limit, something. As its ability is very strong, especially when people choose to play cards that are boosted or cards that are much more expensive than your 4 cost. You can get rid of everything for 3, and it basically can get rid of everything and anything if you think about it.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Ooh, wait a minute.
Now,
I was going to prove a point by going to the WCQ for Europe.
Yeah,
There's
you want to
not
read that deck list for me?
No. There is not a single Izmir deck in the top 16.
Oh,
and that's because hilarious.
But that's because Aphanis was just live. So
34th is the first Izmir deck.
Yeah, because no one's playing Aphanis.
Yeah.
And the huge change once it went live because people need time to learn. Now, we got to close up, but I'll say there were a few things that we said that I felt that we needed to add to the watch list. The other one is double and triple draws. Uniques and double ramp uniques. Just put them on the watch list. There's everything else that happens more than once is there, and these ones are not. Mark, you had said license withdrawal, of course, be putting in there. Sorry, Mark and Kyle said that.
Yeah.
And then you also wanted to add to the watch list the cheap removal. So we specifically talk license withdrawal, but what other things were you considering as cheap removal?
So in my particular case, like I understand that each of the and of course being Bravos, I hate even bringing it up, but Duel of Grit's really strong, and so is Requiem. But Muna's needed that, so I can't say that too strongly. And so has Bravos. We've really struggled for that. But it's just like there are several really, really powerful cards that are very cheap as far as removal. Yeah, and again, talking with Francois, like that was a conscious choice going into Whispers.
But I look at it, Duel of Grit is only as strong as the most expensive card you've played.
Yeah.
So it isn't cheap because you've had to have paid something expensive to do it.
That's correct.
To give its most benefit.
Yeah.
License withdrawal
just straight across the board. Yeah.
Limitations.
Just doesn't care.
The other one that's really strong in Ortis is teamwork training. But you have to have paid lots of characters to come out. Yes, you're paying one, or staying from the night before.
Or even that. Or you have Anne open the gates. Or any way of doing that.
Yeah.
Suddenly that 2 cost is now worth at least a 4 or 5 mana with removal.
Yeah, man. Like in my case, you're getting 12 stats and 5 cost removal
on top of that.
So in summary,
for 8,
I'll go. Mark and Kyle got the most right because they really focused on the Aphanis errata and getting it right with helping hands.
Yeah.
I got the most wrong. And I'll continue to hope that some of these things happen. I'm the first one to admit that my prediction on Messick Tet should not have even been there, seeing the impact it's had now. So I'll look at it from that perspective. And I'm also happy that nothing happened to my dear friend Sigismar.
And I will be happy to admit that I will have the least amount of opinions because I think that everything is fine.
So we will come back a couple of weeks before the release of the next. This time it would be season patch.
Yeah.
And what will be interesting in that is if all goes well, we may even have access to some of these cards that are going to come out during the draft process. Sorry, during the what do we call it? The
pre-release.
preview, pre-release season, preview and
Mhm.
pre-release season, which will be really cool to talk about. How many of these cards do we think are busted? Marc will be here with us next time. Kyle, it is fantastic to have you.
I've seen a couple of them. No, I'm sorry. I have to.
What?
Because I got to open up the one pack at Gen Con. That's all.
Oh, that's true.
What?
You
Yes.
did.
Yes.
And,
Look-
and did you have? You're not allowed to talk about them, right?
I'm not.
Did
Not
you have
even
to
a
do
little
an
bit.
NDA? Oh,
What's
Look,
that?
let me
You're
put it this
becoming
way.
like kohlrabi. Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, no. The real truth of it is that I was so tired. I literally had just driven in. We had just like literally parked the car, walked in, happened to see the Altered booth. I was like, oh, cool. Let's see what they're doing. And we walked over, and no lie, I went over and said hello to Loki. He's like, oh, you're gonna open a pack of Skybound. Here, sit in front of Blue here with his phone. I'm like, sorry, what? Hold up, what's
you
happening?
didn't even get a choice.
Oh,
I had been
I'm
driving
jealous.
for 5 hours.
so it was
just,
worth it though, regardless of the
do.
lack of sleep. Absolutely worth
just
it.
had
So
no idea what was happening. Sorry, continue.
Yeah.
I'm
No.
excited once this can actually progress beyond the firewall, and we get a chance to talk about this afterwards.
Let me put it this way. If you look at the new product page, there is a very clear image of an Ortis trooper with 3 very cute birds and a bunch of like water orbs around her. That's not the important
Oh.
part. This is headcanon now for me.
Okay.
She has a thermos of tea. And I'm
You
just
wanna know
all
what
I
the
want
tea
is
is.
Ortis tea. That's all I want in
Okay.
life is Ortis tea.
Okay.
Awesome.
They gave us
well,
the stew for Bravo, so I want
Yeah.
Ortis tea.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Well, gentlemen, it is an absolute pleasure. Hopefully, this is fun. We will get this out shortly. So, round 1 of our predictions goes to both Kyle and Marc. Let's see if the Heroes Guide to Asgartha team can get up there for the next one.
We should add in like Chili. I know you're going to be really fancy with this, but like if we can, we should add a graphic that says like kind of like an old school like chalkboard with like
Predictions?
scores on it, where it
Blog
has like
team versus
the UAB and then the HGA, and it has like a line, and then it has like 1 point for them and 0
It's
for
going to look
us.
really bad for us. Yeah.
Yeah. So we should definitely put that right here in like the bottom left quadrant.
Let's do
So,
it. All right.
right.
Sounds great.
Everybody, thank you so much
Thank
for
you, gentlemen.
listening. And just remember, you're cool as you are. Don't change for nobody. You are allowed to be yourself, because you have to remember this point, that when the ship of Theseus was being changed, the one thing that never changed was Theseus. So
Incredible.
be yourself.
Look at that. Bringing some lore in here.
Heck yeah,
Actually, some
man.
history.
Yeah, you're welcome. And
So,
funny
yeah.
thing, I forgot that Theseus is actually part of the set, so it's also topical. So look at me
Oh,
go.
it's
That
pretty
was
sad.
totally on purpose. That was
It is the
100%
actual-
on purpose.
And the funniest thing is that's the central theme of this whole
Yeah.
season.
So get that. Look at
There you
me go. So everybody, thank you so much for listening. We'll absolutely see you on the next one.
See ya. Thanks,
Yep,
Kyle.
ciao.
Thanks.
Bye.